Assalamualaikum. I'll briefly introduce Mercosur, also known as the Southern Common Market. Mercosur is one of the world's largest regional trade blocs, ranking just after the EU, USMCA in Asia in terms of economic influence. It was officially established on 26 March 1991 under Treaty of Accession, and its headquarters is located in Montevideo, Uruguay. Mercosur economic strength is significant, with a combined GDP of over USD 2.9 trillion as of 2024, population of roughly 300 million people. The bloc consists of full members Argentina, Uruguay, Paraguay, Brazil, and Bolivia. It is also one suspended member, which is Venezuela. Additionally, several countries participate as associate members, including Chile, Peru, Ecuador, Colombia, Guyana, and Suriname. Now I will explain the main objective of Mercosur. First, Mercosur aims to promote free trade among its member countries. This is done by removing tariff and other trade barriers, making it easier for goods and services to move across borders. Second, Mercosur focuses on creating a single market. To achieve this, the bloc establishes a common external tariff, which means that all member countries apply the same tariff rate when trading is non-member nation. This helps unify their trade policies. Third, Mercosur works to support economic integration. Member countries coordinate their policies on trade, agriculture, industry, and taxation to ensure smoother economic cooperation and to strengthen their regional competitiveness. Lastly, Mercosur aims to strengthen regional cooperation by encouraging investment, improving mobility of people, and promoting social stability across South America.
I will be explaining about Mercosur's successes. For the first point, I want to explain how Mercosur has actually become stronger through the growth of trade inside the bloc. Trade among Mercosur members increased massively over the years, from about 4.5 billion US dollars back in 1991 to around 33.5 billion US dollars in 2019. In 2022, intra-bloc trade reached roughly around 46 billion US dollars, which is a big of 38% jump from 2019. So this shows that the bloc has been successfully in lowering internal trade barriers and making it easier for members to trade with one another. The continuous rise also reflects how the countries are becoming more connected economically. Their markets are more linked, so overall the growth of intra-Mercosur trade proves that the policy put in place to strengthen regional integration are working and given shared benefits to member countries. The second point is about how Mercosur manages to stay stable even when the global economy isn't doing well. Trade among Mercosur countries actually grew by 4.2% even though trade with non-member countries fell. What's interesting is that the decline in export outside the region was mostly due to lower global prices, not because member countries weren't trading. So inside the bloc, trade volume still grew. External imports into the region dropped sharply, but internal trade continued to hold up. Even when the world faces economic difficulties, Mercosur countries can depend on each other to keep trade moving. For the third point, Mercosur has also been very successful when it comes to attracting foreign direct investment. In 2019, the bloc received 45.3% of all FDI following into the Latin America and the Caribbean, and an even bigger share, which is 67.3% of all foreign direct investment going into South America. So if we look at global patterns, Mercosur's share of world foreign direct investment has grown too. Before the global financial crisis, the bloc received only around 2% of global FDI, but by 2015 it had increased to 4.4%, and by 2019 it reaches 4.8%. So this investment is important because it supports industrial development, which creates more job opportunities and also help member countries grow economically in a more balanced way. The final point is how Mercosur has expanded its trade relation outside Latin America, especially with the European Union (EU). So over the past 10 years, European Union imports from Mercosur increased by more than 50%, while exports from the European Union to Mercosur rose by around 25%. Brazil is the European Union's main partner within the bloc, recording nearly 90 billion euro in total trade in 2024, followed by Argentina. And most of the goods from EU buys from Mercosur are primarily products, which is things like agriculture goods and also raw materials, while most European Union exports to Mercosur are manufactured items. So this shows how partnership help Mercosur diversify its export markets and integrate more deeply into the global economy.
Failure of Mercosur. The first one is failure to achieve deep economic integration. According to the paper From Success to Failure, under what condition did Mercosur integrate? The total trade between Mercosur countries fell steadily after 1999, from 25% in 1998 to approximately 10% in 2012. Mercosur members' commerce with the rest of the world was 5.5 times bigger than intra-bloc trade in 2005. This indicating a decline in interdependence and regional trade as countries focus their effort abroad. The goal of establishing a common market by 2006 has been repeatedly set back and has yet to materialize. This demonstrates the integration process stagnation. Next is economic asymmetry and uneven benefit among members. Based on the paper of Mercosur, a common market or an inclusive custom union, the president and high-ranking officials have power over negotiation process and policy implementation, which leads leading the inequalities within the bloc. This is because President frequently pursue measures that benefits Brazil and occasionally Argentina at the expense of other smaller members. As a result, the bloc frequently fails to collaborate and coordinate on macroeconomic concerns. According to other articles, Mercosur has failed. It's time to end it. economic weight enabled it to influence trade flow in its favor, frequently at the expense of smaller members such as Uruguay and Paraguay. Brazilian industry are shielded by a common external tariff, which forced other members to accept more expensive import, undermining trade efficiency and consumer welfare.
Moving on to another major failure of Mercosur is its weak institutional setup and its difficulty enforcing rules. The bloc's integration is driven mainly by interpresidentialism, meaning presidents hold most of the decision-making authority instead of strong independent institutions. So this makes Mercosur's progress depend on political personalities and national priorities rather than stable long-term institutional frameworks. Mercosur lacks supranational bodies with power to guide or control members' behavior. So because of this, national interests often override collective commitments, and institutions are too weak to consistently restrain members, and this leads to mistrust and uneven application of rules. And so overall, weak institutions and limited enforcement are the main deeper integration. The final failure of Mercosur is political instability within member countries. One major issue was the wave of corruption investigations that began in Brazil 2014, involving hundreds of political and business elites across the region. So these scandals created uncertainty and strained trust among members' governments. Political disagreements also disrupt cooperation, such as Uruguay's push to negotiate its own free trade agreements, and even Expo joining the Trans-Pacific Partnership created tensions because in a custom union like Mercosur, members are expected to negotiate external trade deals jointly. Altogether, corruptions, unethical actions, and democratic instability weaken Mercosur's ability to act as a strong and united regional organization.
Next, I will explain the positive impacts on Mercosur on farm fresh. Firstly, Mercosur can create new market access opportunities. Since the bloc promotes free trade and reduced tariff, it opens up larger market for agriculture and fresh produce companies, including Malaysia firms like FarmFresh. If FarmFresh exports its dairy products to Mercosur countries, tariff reduction can help lower the cost of improving their goods into the region, which can significantly improve competitiveness and increase export volume. Secondly, Mercosur can contribute to cost reduction. Regional trade agreements usually implement improved custom system and digital documentation, which help speed up inspection and reduce waiting times at the border. This can lower storage costs, reduce wastage of perishable goods, and lessen administrative fees. Thirdly, technology and productivity upgrade. When Mercosur open up trade opportunities, competition increases. This pushes companies like FarmFresh to improve their production practices and adopt better technologies to stay competitive. When engaging with suppliers from Mercosur countries, FarmFresh can benefit from knowledge transfer, especially in modern farming techniques and quality improvement methods. This helps the company enhance efficiency and overall productivity. Lastly, strengthen brand competitiveness. Mercosur has strict international safety and quality standards. By meeting this standard, FarmFresh can improve its brand's reputation and product quality. This not only helps the company compete more effectively in global market, but also builds a stronger image for exporting their products. Overall, Mercosur encourages FarmFresh to enhance its technology, increase efficiency, and improve its brand competitiveness.
The negative impact. The first one is high import tariff. Because Malaysia is not part of Mercosur, FarmFresh will face block common external tariff (CET) on their export product and pay very high tax just to bring milk products into Mercosur countries. For example, according to the New Market 2033, Brazil can charge up to 28% tax on import milk product. This high tariff make it difficult for foreign dairy companies to compete. FarmFresh milk would be more expensive compared to local brands, and customer will usually choose the cheaper option. The second impact is complicated trade rules. Even if FarmFresh managed to handle the tax, the company still need to follow many requirements before it can sell milk in Mercosur countries. According to the EFTA Mercosur Fact Sheet 2035, exporters must have health certificate for its cow, approved factory, translate all labels into Spanish or Portuguese to meet local standard. This study show that these non-tariff barriers are sometimes even tougher than tariff. The third one is strong local competition. Mercosur already has big dairy brands like Itambe in Brazil, Sancho in Argentina, La Serenísima, and even Nestle in Brazil. According to the European Dairy Association (EDA) 2024, these countries produce almost all the milk they need, and some even produce more than what their population consume, with rates 98% to 281%. So they don't really need to import milk from outside. This make it very difficult for FarmFresh to get the shelf space or to attract more customers. The last one is unstable economy. Countries like Argentina and Brazil often face issues like the inflation and currency problem. According to Bank 2024 report that slow economic growth and failing incomes have reduced milk consumption. For example, Reuters 2024 state that Argentina inflation was over 100% in 2024 when price rise so fast, people have less money to spend and they will avoid more expensive import products.